Put your two lungs to work. Fatty ganja smoking. Fatty ganja. Fatty ganja smoking. Fatty ganja. Babylon, you break the very last that you made. To plan out your garden is a mistake. I manage the roots and not the branches. See through your lies, little son of a Lord. Bless I with the abundant serve for meditation. Grow it and spread it to the whole nation. No father, you spread negative vibration, all wrapped up in depression. But in my herbal garden is a sweet medicine for me. In my herbal garden is what inspired this melody. So bird, put your two lungs to work. Oh, I say bird, put your two lungs to work. Yeah, Fabi ganja smoking. Fabi ganja. Yeah, Fabi ganja smoking. Fabi ganja.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome. Welcome to the Conspiracy Castle. I'm your conspiracy asshole, Primetime 99, Alex Stein. And we got a special afternoon Saturday edition today. Let's go, baby, let's go. I see you guys in the chat. Let's go.
It's a sweet medicine for me. In my herbal garden is what inspired this melody. So bird, put your two lungs to work. Oh, I say bird,
Put your two lungs to work. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, Fabi ganja smoking. Fabi ganja.
Excited, this is a passion project today. We have a very special guest today. Chaunce Hayden, guys. This is a real investigative journalist that was there in the 90s, getting sued by everybody. Dealing with models and supermodels and celebrities. A real special guest, a real bad boy. Here, let me bring him on while I got him right here. Chaunce, welcome to the Conspiracy Castle. I am your conspiracy, I don't want to say it in front of your lovely daughter. Welcome to the Conspiracy Castle. How are you guys doing from lovely Ireland? Oh, I gotta mute you. I always forgot to unmute you. I always do this. I always do that long intro. I gotta unmute you. No, Chaunce, you gotta mute. You're muted. Yeah, now you're good, Chaunce. I always do that. I do dance around. I play the reggae music and I forget. Hello. Okay, tell me your daughter's name again. I was in such a hurry. I didn't.
This is my daughter, Poppy. She's 9 years old.
Poppy. Well, that's kind of crazy. That name is really cool, but this is a conspiracy show, and when you think of Poppy, we think of Afghanistan, the poppy fields in Afghanistan. You haven't told her anything about that, have you? Yet?
She wouldn't even use that.
I know. It's just funny, that name.
She doesn't know anything about her dad. She's from Ireland, so she doesn't know my past and my history or anything about me during the Howard Stern days.
Well, okay, so let me tell the audience, we're gonna show a clip of you doing one of my favorite things, but I want to talk you up a little bit because Chaunce, some of the stuff you did was in the heyday of Howard Stern, and we know now he sucks. Like, I hate Howard, but this is what I'm saying. Before I want to get into the kind of the exposition or exposing him, whatever you want to call it, because he's treated his staff so bad. But my cat's going crazy. Of course, I just woke him up from a nap, and of course he's going to go crazy. I hope Poppy likes cats. Poppy, you guys need to get a cat. You guys need to get a cat. I love cats. They're crazy. Maybe you don't like them, but They're okay. This isn't the cat castle. It's a conspiracy castle. I just want to say this about Howard Stern is he's a real big fraud. He's a guy that I love, that I actually put part of my identity into Howard Stern, because he had so much power over young people. He really has the ability of the group think. It's called the zeitgeist, the collective consciousness. He was so powerful. He had the collective consciousness of a lot of young men and adult men, of men of all ages.
He was the king of all media.
And that's what I like to call myself, Chaunce. I call myself the king of all conspiracy because I'm going to outlast Alex Jones. I'm going to outlast them all. Michael Jackson's the king of pop. You're talking to primetime 99 Alex Stein. I know I'm a nobody right now. I'm young on the scene, but just wait. I'm a machine. I'm a young Howard myself. That's why I love you so much. Well, I just got to look nice, I want to look halfway decent. I got it. I mean, come on, Chauncey. Some of the court cases you were telling, I was just listening about real quick because I want to, before I play some of this stuff. Wait, so tell me this. This is what I got to start with first, and because this is just playing on my head, and we can get into it. Like I wasn't gonna get into it later, but I just can't. I can't stop thinking about this. This is the first time I ever heard about it. You were in a court case with Howard Stern, where he had a supermodel's bones, and he displayed them on the air. And it went to the Supreme Court?
That's such a fascinating story.
Most fascinating story I've ever heard. Sorry, go ahead. I've ever heard.
That case is now studied in Harvard Law School. To become an attorney with a Harvard degree, you have to study this case. It redefined what is defamation, because what basically was happening, someone who was very close to me, who I really loved dearly, Debbie Kay, had passed away with a heroin overdose.
But the heroin overdose story was crazy. She was trying to mail 200 bags of dope to Angelina Jolie. Is that correct?
You did your homework.
Wait, go ahead. Chauncey, I'm a big fan. I'm telling you, I know, Chauncey, this is what I'm telling you. I'm such a Howard Stern fan. I'm a broadcaster. I want to be a broadcaster like him. I sell used cars. I'm a used car salesman. I hate it. I come from a good neighborhood. All my friends have families. I want to be a degenerate. I'm saying, Chauncey, this is what I'm saying. Not a lot of people respect you. And when you were in the 90s and early 2000s, doing all that stuff with all those Artie Lang and they talking to Page Six, to me, all that stuff gives me a sexual pleasure. I think that's so cool. I don't know how to describe it. You know what I mean? Oh, not sexual, but it's like I know it's not even that. This isn't a sexual show, but it's like I like that. Like I look onto that as fondly. Like I look into a hot girl. I'm like, wow, that's really cool that you're doing all that. I want to get involved in the muck. I know it sounds stressful.
Crazy life, man. I had a crazy life. I had a 30-year run, and it was out of control. But that was what you're talking about was in 1996, and you were right about that. That Debbie was shipping 200 bags, or was supposed to ship 200 bags of heroin to Angelina Jolie on the set of Foxfire. Up in Washington.
Did that movie do good? Whatever happened? You even remember?
It wasn't a bad movie. No, it was a pretty good movie. It was with the Asian model Jenny Shimizu, and
was she dating Billy Bob? Was Angelina Jolie dating Billy Bob at that time?
I think it was before.
It was before. Yeah, so it was before. So this is when she was just John Voight's daughter, just kind of John Voight's hot daughter, getting some acting gigs, kind of deal.
That's right. And so this is her first movie. And at the time, Debbie was involved in heroin. And she asked Debbie to ship it to her. Debbie was trying to get clean, but she decided to do it. But that night, Debbie ended up using some of the bags, and they were bad bags. And the next day, she had passed away, and it was heartbreaking. Angelina called me and said she was going to pay for the funeral, and she never did. And we had Debbie cremated. Howard heard about it, had me come on the show, and that's when it all went down. Nobody thought that Howard was going to take the box off the urn. And he did, and it was gruesome and it was horrible and
well, let's go slow. I mean, explain it. So you brought the box and he's on the air. What morning was this? It was like did this make it on the air? And this was before
it made it on the air.
But the E
show.
So it made it on the E. I watched every episode of the E show. It obviously got taken off the E show pretty fast because I feel like I saw every episode of the E.
Hold on a second. My phone is
no problem. I know you're in Ireland. You take care of your business.
Just turn my phone off.
No. And I'm about to key up. We're about to see you when you brought Beetlejuice's family on. I'm gonna.
So anyway, this aired. It went on E. It's now banned from the show, but somebody has it because every once in a while it pops up on YouTube, and it's there for a little while before somebody takes it down. And it was a major lawsuit. The family was suing for defamation. But what happened was we didn't know at the time, but a judge had a rule: if you can defame a corpse, can a family sue if you defame a dead person? That was the basis of the trial.
And they concluded that you can't defame a dead person. Is that correct?
Right. They said, as hideous and as terrible as this show was, you can't defame someone who is no longer living. And so you could say anything about Abraham Lincoln. And
people are wondering what happened, but basically Howard Stern, Chaunce knew a famous supermodel at the time, and she had died of a drug overdose, and she was dating Angelini at the time, and he had access to her ashes because nobody paid for her funeral services.
I was kind of like her soulmate. She was very close to me. So I had her ashes and all that, I was really the only one she had left, in her life at the time.
Well, when you're on drugs, that's what happens. You alienate your family usually sometimes to the first people you alienate.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah, she had alienated her family, and it was very tragic and very sad. But the family, and I don't blame them. They came out of the woodwork when that show aired, and it was disgusting.
I would have sued Howard Stern too, no doubt about it. That's terrible. Why not?
Yeah, in fact, my attorney told me I should sue Howard Stern.
Yeah, you should have sued Howard Stern. You should have sued him. But you kind of liked, even though you took a lot of hits for Howard Stern, he didn't take any for anybody, so you shouldn't feel bad. But I'm sure you didn't want to mess up your relationship with Howard at the time. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yeah, I had a good thing going, and it was a good. At the time there were like 26 million people listening every morning. Why would I want to lose that? And while I was upset about the show, I knew that if I walked away from it, that would be the end of my career at the time. Because I was just starting out as a journalist, and I had 26 million people hearing about my interviews and hearing about the things I was doing. So, it would have been crazy to walk away from it.
And I just stepped on your whole story because it blew my mind, because I don't want to even get into I'll get into the occultic part of it, but this is what's so horrifying in the story is that I didn't know this. You taught me this, Chaunce. You taught me a lot, is that there's two ways of cremation, where it's a pulverization, where you see like in the Big Lebowski, or it's like the Boo-Boo Walmart brand version, the Great Value store brand version, where they just burn you and they got some chunks. And so they had some chunks. Is that correct? Howard was displaying chunks of bones.
You really know your stuff. Yep. I didn't know it either at the time. There's two ways of doing it. One is that what you see in the Big Lebowski, and excuse me. Yeah. And the other kind is like chicken bones, chunks. And it's
very
rough,
unpleasant. Man. It's very unpleasant.
And Howard picked up the pieces, held them up to the camera, and said, "Hey, Robin, you think this is Debbie's head?" And it was unreal. Unreal.
What if I told you this, Chauncey? This is gonna blow your mind, because I know you're pretty. Even though you're a family man and this and that. What if I told you that Howard Stern, even though he thinks he's a germ freak, he's probably participated in satanic rituals with bones before? What if I was to tell you that? Would you believe me? Would you say that was impossible?
No, nothing's impossible. What I've learned after all these years of being a gadfly journalist is that nothing shocks me anymore, and especially with Howard. He had a pretty dark past, you could say.
And look at his transition. Okay, but before we start bashing Howard, let's talk about some of the good times. This is okay, and let me preference this episode. I gotta do share screen. I gotta show you this one. Let me do share screen. I'm sharing this one. Okay, share sound. This is the clip, okay? And you can't. Let's put it on the screen for everybody at home.
Get Sean's job.
Yes, this is when you bring in Beetlejuice's family. This is legendary.
Yes.
Hold on, I gotta add one thing though to this. I gotta do.
That was amazing.
Yes, this was an incredible freaking series of shows on that. This is probably the peak of the entire. I don't know what you want to call that, a series, but at one point, Howard was the king of all media. He had the top movie, he had the top radio show, and dude, the E! Show, listen, I'm telling you, that show was the coolest show. My childhood, I didn't miss that show. Me and my buddies would talk. We'd be like girls, we'd be sitting and watching. Did you see what happened that night?
And before that was the Channel 9 show, which is even wilder. That was insane.
Yeah, and when you guys are talking about it, which is even more ridiculous, think about how is cancel culture not caught up to Howard Stern? And I'm not even.
I say that all the time. I say that all the time. How is he sliding? How is this guy sliding?
But
he should be canceled.
And it's not even that I wanted to be canceled, because that makes me a hypocrite, but I'm saying he said the N-word 1,000,000 times, and then he went on The View and said he only said it once or twice. You heard him. He used to say that word the daily almost. And already used to say
the Harlem Ho beauty pageant.
Yeah, dude, he did the nose. He did he did more, and he's a Jew. I'm just saying, he did a lot of he's the man. Back then he was a comedy.
Just a Debbie Tay show should get him canceled.
Yes, look at that. Look at Poppy's mask. Poppy has a cool mask. We're talking about Howard Stern. Dude, there you go. People at home are gonna.
You can tell she's my daughter.
Yes, you guys have a lot of personality. I can tell, like
We're
father,
exactly
like daughter.
Oh my God, we're exactly the same.
Okay, so let's watch some of this. Hold on, let's see.
Well, you've been giving.
Right.
All right. Okay.
Howard Stern Show. This is a day that will never be forgotten. Thank you.
How do you guys feel about being on the show?
Great. It was all right.
Beetlejuice's mom didn't seem too happy to be on the show.
All right, B. Cool.
A wonderful family.
Go. Good luck, guys.
They're going to do great. They're going to do great today.
I was going to ask you if I can move some stuff around this morning. Chaunce's supposed to come in at 8:30 with some mystery guests.
Yeah.
On Thursday.
Bring her in here.
On the phone, because I don't think
All
it's
right.
Reliable.
not reliable. The second he took it from my hands, things went to crap.
You're such a jerk.
Real quick, and I just kind of skipped a part that was about a massage, even though it was really funny. I just don't want to get into it. But so tell me this, though. When you're doing John's job, how big of a fair shake did you get? Because so Richard Christie ended up winning. Did you, how did it work? And
I can tell you that, talk about conspiracy theories. So,
you know what? You didn't get it. Actually, before I tell you, my conspiracy theory is you didn't do any gay, homosexual stuff. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry. I'm serious.
That wasn't it.
Okay.
The story was that Richard was hired before the contest even began. He was hired weeks prior. There was no contest. This was a bit. The whole thing was a bit for the air. The voting didn't matter. They just
They didn't have the infrastructure to take a real vote.
No,
you know what I mean?
There was no voting. There was none of that. Richard was hired well in advance. Richard had already moved to New York. Richard moved from Nebraska, Oklahoma, where he was living, to New York City.
He was already there, and he's a hillbilly, so he wouldn't have got there if he didn't have a job already. And I like Richard.
His week wasn't even that good. His week was kind of dull.
Not as good as this. You brought in Beetlejuice's sister. So, dude, let's get into Beetlejuice. There's, not conspiracy, but his mom was his teacher was Jerry O'Connell's mom was his teacher in school. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. No.
Jerry O'Connell's mom was his teacher, I guess, in New York, because she was a special ed teacher at the school Beetlejuice went to.
Interesting.
That's true. That's how big. Hey, I'm a diehard. I can't listen to him now.
I'm impressed. But it took a lot of work to find them, and then once I found them, it took a lot of work to get the mother to agree, because the mother was dead set against it, and quite honestly, the sister was dead set against it.
Yeah,
she didn't. Nobody wanted this to happen. Beetlejuice didn't want it to happen. So that was the starting point for me. A big no across the board. This is never going to happen. And I had 24 hours to convince them to do it and show up at 5:45 in the morning.
What is Beetlejuice doing here?
Part of this bit.
Oh, part of the bit. Hey, Beetle.
This is my show revelation.
Oh. All right, what was the other thing you said about him?
With the Vietnam veteran, the most decorated guy.
Right.
All those things that you said he wanted to talk about, he had no idea what you're talking about. He's not supportive of Howard. He's not unsupportive of Howard.
This is a practical joke.
He thinks he's supportive of Howard, but he's not sure.
Chauncey, what year is it?
He doesn't know who's.
Do you remember roughly just around?
This is around 2004.
Wow, so this is after 9/11. Okay, I'm just trying to get kind of what was going on. Like, okay.
Gary, let me tell you something. It's Gary.
Yeah, it's always Gary.
All right, Chauncey.
Let me produce.
Bring in your Jenny McCarthy tape,
Let
you
me
redheaded
produce.
bastard.
Let me do it, and the things.
What happened to you?
But he's on terrestrial. He's not on satellites. This is when he was a real big deal still.
This was the last 2 years before he switched over.
And I'm vet.
He's gonna. I'll put him on. You want him on?
No. Hey, what's going on, Jason?
So, Chauncey's mystery guest is here, but she won't come on the air.
What?
She said she absolutely refuses to come in the studio.
Let me take care of this. Hold on.
All right, you go take care of it.
Chauncey, produce Chauncey.
Chauncey's week's going horribly
I
wrong.
run the whole thing here.
Yeah, that's it.
Chauncey's the rainmaker.
Hey,
Let him
Pete,
do this.
You're working with Chauncey now?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't even know Chauncey, do you?
Hey, buddy, how'd you like Vegas, huh?
Vegas was all right.
Tell me what went on there. Did you get laid?
Twice.
No kidding. Look at you.
That he can count.
Ladies, man.
Oh, yeah. You know it.
Right. Good for you.
Are you nervous? Are you nervous? Don't. You know it's me, right? You know.
You want me to go in with you and everything, sit next to you?
You want me to sit next to you? You're fine. I'm gonna be right next to you the whole time, okay? You like me, right? And you know I'm not gonna let anything happen to you.
And Chauncey, you want this job so bad, like anybody would, because it's like one of the greatest opportunities. You're going to be the next Stuttering John, potentially. And look, I'm just saying, I respect how hard you want this. She has no idea. This is like make or break, but it was rigged the whole time. They never.
It was rigged. No, I never had a chance. But looking back, I was very lucky because it would have been the worst thing that ever happened to me had I got the job. But it is what it is, and I called him out on it on the air. A few weeks later, I had all the evidence. I had all the people that came forward and said, "Oh yeah, this was rigged." But that's the show is rigged. So Howard wouldn't put me on whenever I would start going in that direction because he didn't want that his cover blown.
Okay, we're gonna hear about his cover. We're about to we'll blow his cover a little here on the show.
Put my hand and I'll take care of it.
Let's watch this. People in the chat are like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting," but people talking about characters for a show we never watch. Well, I have to admit, this is very niche. This show, the stuff we're talking about. But Chauncey, you were a big part of this. People don't realize.
Think how amazing that is. But think what you just said. How amazing that is. When this show aired, you could ask the milkman, the guy at the grocery store, the cop, the judge, the doctor, anybody that you met could have told you exactly what happened that morning on the air. The entire country listened to this show. Now you go up to a kid who's under 25, they don't know what you're talking about.
No idea. Yeah, and at this time, Howard's movie was on HBO. It was like one of the top HBO movies.
Number one selling best book.
I mean, he had the number one E show. I mean, this is when he was really big. People don't realize, but they pay him to go away base. Like they paid him all that money to go to Sirius, and nobody listened to him anymore.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Come on.
Oh, wait, who is this, Beetle?
That's
Who is that?
It's my little sister.
Guys, people don't realize this is the most legendary thing ever. Beetlejuice's
That's your sister? You brought her in?
I wish you could have seen Howard's eyes when I brought her in.
Where's my cat? I'm about to put him in there.
I never met your sister. Come on in. That's your sister?
Yeah.
I heard you had a sister.
Yeah, it's my little sister.
That's Beetle.
I'm the oldest, so you know that.
What is your sister's name so I can say hello to her?
You can say hello if we want to.
What's her name?
Erica.
Erica. I didn't know you had a sister for real.
Yeah, I'm the oldest in the house.
Yeah. Hello, Erica.
Hello.
How are you? Get close to that microphone because I don't want to miss a word of this. Tell me, are you an older sister or a younger sister?
The younger sister.
Younger sister of Beetlejuice. Now, how do you guys know Chauncey? We've always heard Beetlejuice has a sister. How did you...
This was the hardest thing I've ever had to do. No one on the show has ever been able to get Beetlejuice's sister on the air.
That is true.
You got to give me props for this, bro.
That's right. So, first of all, but before I get to Beetlejuice's sister, Pete, what happened to your front tooth? It's gone. Where your big tooth? What happened to it?
I took it out.
You pulled your own tooth out.
Right.
Why?
You're kidding.
Did your sister know about this? Did you realize he pulled his tooth out?
Yes.
Why did he do this?
I don't know. He just took it right out.
Took it right out. Now, you must be proud of Beetle. I mean, of all his celebrity and fame.
He's a big star.
He's a big star. But you've remained in the shadows.
Right.
You've never come forward.
Right.
Why is that?
I don't know. It just when I be seeing him on TV, I should try to catch it.
Right.
You don't want to be on TV with him?
Nah, she's not on it. She's not into that.
She's not a star.
She's very religious.
You're a religious woman?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. Now, Beetle is a hard-drinking guy. Loves to drink, loves to party, and smoke weed.
You know it.
I catch him that too.
You do some of that, too?
I catch him that too.
Yeah.
For me, but she don't do it.
Right.
I catch him doing that.
You do?
Won't get him.
Do you ever do that stuff?
Nah.
You're living a clean life.
Okay, here, let's fast forward a little bit. Just this is so legendary. I just can't believe it. Look, okay, so this is the mom. This is what I wanted to show. This is Beetlejuice's mom. What? They probably. Did you pay him? How did you get them to come on the show, Chauncey?
I didn't have to pay him. I just begged and begged until I convinced them. They really started to like me. I told them that they wouldn't be exploited, that we'd all be respectful. And I just had to make them believe it and hope that Howard would be respectful.
Right.
You know, it was nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but it is nerve-wracking. But now he's such a freaking lily pad. He's a
Well, he would never do a show like this now. This would never happen.
No, never.
He claims he invented radio. All right.
Well, why not? Who cares?
Erica's wearing a beautiful dress. Did Mom make that? It's a beautiful dress.
I went shopping and got it.
Yeah.
Well, on this show, you got to dress well. Look
you
at
look
us.
amazing. You really do.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Beetle, and after we take a few phone calls, tell everyone how you piloted the space shuttle.
I've been in the space shuttle for a long time.
All right, there we go. All right, here we go. This is Mark. Mark, you're on the air, and what has to be a historic day for the show?
Congratulations, Howard. You got Babe Ruth and Lou Gehrig.
That's what I'm saying. Babe
Vote for
Ruth and
Chauncey
Lou
then, because,
Gehrig.
when
produced.
He did produce. This is a home run, Chaunce.
Thank you.
Your first 2 days were a little sluggish, but
I thought you liked yesterday, no?
It was okay.
Okay.
But today is really...
I mean,
thanks.
You raised the bar.
Dude, he is putting you through mental torture, and he loves it, dude. The way he's... Look at that. Like, he just loves it. Like... I can just see it in you. You have the energy. You would do anything. You would bend over backwards. He knows that. He has you wrapped around his finger like I would. Dude, I would, in that same position, dude, I would be a kid scrubbing their toilet to get them on the show. You know what I mean?
It was the most desired media position in America. There was, maybe in the world, there was no place when you spoke on that show, 25 million people were listening to you. Where could you find that outlet where every word you said at that moment live, 25 million people were listening?
Let's see.
It was insane.
How terrible is Gary? Terrible?
Oh, yeah, he's an idiot.
Bickering. I mean,
we'll get into it.
They're arguing.
This is fantastic.
This is a big day. Chauncey, you've...
Look how good. Look how good Artie looked there. Wait.
He is a man. I mean, you are a man. Man has to go to the strip club.
The man had to do what he has to do, buddy. He's sneaky sometimes.
Erica, you're shocked by this. I can see. Aren't you?
Well, it's getting on my nerves.
I mean, we're laughing at this mentally challenged guy, but Howard Stern made millions of dollars. But what he did to Eric the actor, Chauncey, that was my hero. Eric S. Lynch from Sacramento. I'm telling you, I know, I don't know. I'm the biggest Eric the actor fan that ever was. And Howard Stern, he did him worse than he did Artie. I believe that he was responsible for his death as much as Artie.
What about Hank the Angry Dwarf?
Yeah, of course Hank was terrible, but Hank was different. Hank was more self-sabotaging. Like literally Eric the actor called in all the time. They used to keep him on hold every morning. They knew he would stay up all night to get on the show, and they would he was a sick guy, and everybody wanted to hear him. Howard used to do it for the audience. Like he would withhold Eric from the audience, so the audience would have to listen to.
Could care less if that guy lived or died. Could care less. Yeah.
Oh, dude.
He used people up, and to this day, unapologetic. Like he apologizes to Ellen DeGeneres and to Chevy Chase, but you'll never get an apology to all the people he used along the way to get where he is.
And Chevy Chase is a nut job too.
I'm going to kill him.
Yeah, he's a little out of control.
What?
One of Howard's good buddies now.
I know, but they hated each other because he prank called his wife and all this stuff. But Chevy Chase is not a good guy. It's because they're all in the club that we're not a part of. That's why
Ellen DeGeneres. She turned out to be what she is now. You know, like that. And they're all buddies. Jimmy Kimmel, the same way, all of them.
Jimmy Kimmel sucks, dude. Jimmy Kimmel used to be funny. He can make me laugh, dude. I would rather watch North Korean dubbed Seinfeld than listen to him. I would rather really, honestly, he's the worst.
And another guy, a left-wing liberal, who did blackface years ago and had to run and hide, and for the whole summer last year, had to go into a cave so he didn't get canceled.
When he leaves the house, you don't know what he'll do.
I don't know what he gonna do.
Oh, he does it all.
Sneak out the house.
Oh,
right.
Well, what a big day. Robin, this is a banner day.
Oh.
Historic. It's historic.
We should give
my heart is filled. I'm just so happy.
We should give the mother something for being the greatest human being who's ever lived.
You are the greatest human being.
She really is.
For 20 million different reasons.
Now,
Look at Artie. I just can't believe it.
That's missing.
Yeah, but what are you going to do about the tooth? I mean,
wow. Okay. Is there any clips just off the top of your head we should look? I mean, there's a million we could look up. I didn't know if there's any you wanted to pull up.
There's so many. I mean,
there's so many. Let's see. Chauncey, Hayden, Howard Stern. I mean, there's so many, but that one for me was so monumental because
that's my favorite. That was my favorite for sure.
That's the best. I mean, look at us. This is us live right now on YouTube. 154 awesome. People watching. Yeah. I mean, Chauncey, you had so many legendary.
I had some really good battles with Ronnie the limo driver. We almost came to blows a few times in the studio. Those were my favorite moments too. Yeah, it was so easy to get angry.
Okay, here, let me do the stop sharing because we can watch that all the time. So I want to get more into. We were talking a little bit earlier, something you were making me so interested. Mm-hmm. The wig. What is the deal? Tell me, does Howard have a wig? Because I heard that actually. This is what I've heard. I remember as a young kid, before like Howard Stern was the biggest thing, this is with the scuttlebutt. And I've heard, I love all conspiracies because I guess I was into him as a kid because I remember hearing the conspiracy that Howard Stern had to wear the wig because he wanted to be able to hide. He was so famous, he wanted to be able to take it off and hide when he was, not on the radio, when he was in his everyday life. So that's why it was a wig. But true or false?
He wore a wig because he didn't want to be bald, like his dad, like his father.
Ray Stern, yeah.
Yeah. So this is how I busted Howard with the wig, and I did bust him on it. So I had a magazine called Stepping Out, and one of our advertisers was a guy named Richard Farrell, who had a global hair. What do they call it? Hair piece or hair systems? They call them hair systems.
Hair systems, that's what they call them. But what is it like? It's basically just hair extensions kind of deal, I guess.
No, I'll tell you what it is. So it's this fine mesh netting. It's a very fine, very soft mesh, and the more expensive it is, the more finer it is and delicate. And they weave hair into this mesh. And they try to match your natural hair with this mesh. It looks like a skunk. It looks like a rodent when they're done with it. And then they shave your head bald, whatever hair is on there, and then they put glue on it. They put glue on the top of your head, and then they press this down onto the top of your head. And then it dries in a couple of minutes, and it's stuck there for about a month, for 4 weeks.
It's stuck on there good for the shower, go swimming, you go jet skiing, parasailing.
You really, if it's a good one, you can't see any hair, of the mesh in the front. They caught Michael Jackson once. There's a couple of pictures of Michael Jackson because he wore one, and one time he didn't change it in time, and the mesh popped up. And you can see the mesh lifted up on his forehead.
Well, he burned himself in a fire. I believe they caught him on fire in that Pepsi commercial on purpose or something. So who cares? He wore. I'm a big Michael Jackson fan. I believe he was falsely accused. If you look into the documentary, listen to this, Chauncey. If you look into the documentary, James Safechuck and Wade Robinson, one of the accusers, Wade Robinson, was his biggest ally in 2 court cases, was his biggest advocate for him, and went in front of the top prosecutor of California twice and was cross-examined and said that he never touched him. And then after he died, he touched him. And then the other kid that was in the documentary, listen to this. James Safechuck said that he was molested in the train house, and the date that his train house, the estate even put out the architecture plans were not even developed yet for the train house that he was supposedly had that happen in. So, there's some conspiracy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, we'll never know. We'll really never know.
He was investigated 19 years by the FBI, wiretaps.
Chris Rock says it best.
What does he say?
He goes, not again. He goes, not again. When he first had his investigation in the late 80s, early 90s, and then it all came back again, then you had to say, come on, Michael, what are you doing? Like, you got away with it the first time, and here we are again. So even if he didn't, he should have been charged with stupidity.
Yeah, he is. I know. Poor MJ, though. I'd say R.I.P. I think a lot of these guys that the media tears down, like, this is what I'm saying. When the media, but this is what I'm trying to say. When the media was tearing down Howard Stern, it was right when Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake revealed Janet Jackson's nipple at the Super Bowl. That's when they went hard on Howard Stern. Howard Stern was the coolest guy ever. The media was against him. Now the media loves him. When you're the media darling, you stink. Nobody likes you. So that's just all you got to know. If the media likes you, you stink. Yeah.
But that's what made Howard so much fun. Is that the media hated him, and the fans love that. They love that he was the underdog. He was the bad guy. He was the one that didn't follow the rules, that didn't kiss up to anyone. And then he became Imus. He became everything that he hated and preached for 25 years. He became.
Well, what do you?
And the show, that was the end of it.
No, but so tell me this though. When he we can say Eric the actor, you say Hank the Angry Dwarf. And then but let's say
there's a bunch of them.
I know, but let's say Artie was the most talented of them all, right? But Artie's a mess on his own. He has a lot of self-sabotage that even I don't think Howard Stern can control because he's gotten so many chances from so many other people. But do you think there could have been possible that Howard Stern, because when you watch those shows and he was letting him sleep on air and he was enabling it, Howard liked that we, the viewer, enjoyed watching the demise of it. He exploited it more than I've ever seen in my life.
He was the ringmaster, and the more freaky the circus, the better. And then he'll pull back and say, "Well, I had no idea. Who knew that it would get to this point? Howard prayed it got to that point."
You think it was like that? You think he was praying like that? I mean, I believe that he was literally praying. I know that sounds weird, but I literally.
Howard knew that. Wait, hold on a second. No, responding. No. Stop. I have to be a father for a second.
I know. I understand. No problem. Here at the Conspiracy Castle, we are totally okay with the parental skills live on air.
Yeah. So yeah, you'll get. So yeah. With all the people and all the destruction that I saw in that show and the lives that were ruined, I mean, look at DeBella's wife. Do you remember DeBella?
Yeah, from Philadelphia. I mean, I was too young, but I learned all that stuff after.
Oh, there were so many things. There were so many things that were tragedies, and each time Howard's Q rating went up and up. That the world was watching this radio reality TV show before the Kardashians, before there were any of that stuff, before Jersey Shore. Howard was the first reality show, and America was addicted. And each time he did something outrageous, you got to remember, he had to up the bar. He had to do better the next time. And it just got to a point where people were dying. People started to die. Hank the Angry Dwarf, Eric the Midget, Debbie Tay, DeBella's wife. People
So,
started
but DeBella was the number one host in Philadelphia in like the '90s, late '90s, and so what he got syndicated in Philly, and he just personally made it his life's not his life's work, but at that moment it was his
destroy him.
Yeah, to destroy him. And so, what did DeBella's wife? She died how? Not by taking her own life, I hope.
She did, yeah.
What? From all that stuff? What? Yeah. From all the troll around that time or after the fact? Because, Michael Jackson's first accuser, Jordan Campbell, that he paid off, that dad ended up doing the same thing. I know we're talking about Michael Jackson a lot, but we're not trying to talk about Michael Jackson. You're a celebrity gossip person, so you know all this. But explain that. How close to the death was it to the situation?
Yeah, I mean... There was so much going on. It was so embarrassing. Howard was pulling their personal life out into the public when nobody did that. This is a time when that was never done. Now it's common, but in those days it was unbelievable that we would know so much about them, and she couldn't handle it. And now the media jumped on him over that. But he was able to skate through it, as he always did, always got around it, always danced around it. And then he would play, the victim and say, we never really thought this would happen. This is terrible. But of course, he wanted that to happen. He wanted bodies. The body count. It was about the body count, like in Vietnam. The only thing that mattered were the bodies.
Wow. And he really does like that. Do you think he fed off that energy or something of like the demise of other?
He did. Well, do you remember he used to pray for Les Moonves, CBS
owner or CAS.
He would, when he didn't like you, he would say a prayer that you would get sick. And I mean, what kind of bad mojo is that to be putting out there all the time? And it's just look at Kathy Griffin when her husband died, when Frank Griffin died. Think how Gifford died. How horrible that was.
Well, you want to get really
how he mocked them and mocked them and mocked them until he finally died, and then it was like,
Well, Frank Gifford, I mean, he did step out on Kathy Lee a little bit. They had a weird thing. I mean, he had a little ammunition, self-sabotage, to be honest.
But they all do. And the thing is, it's like being a bully. Howard had his demons too, but who was going to call him out on it? Because if he did, you would be attacked and weren't going to win. You weren't going to win. You couldn't beat the Howard army. It was too strong. The Howard media strength was too strong. He could destroy your career. Look what he did to David Lee Roth over his hair. You remember how he used to torture David Lee Roth because of his hair weaves? Meanwhile, Howard was the same way, same thing.
I want to show you this. Okay, this is terrible edit, but so this is. Let me do this. I gotta do share screen again. I kind of have beef with Kathy Lee because I did this dating show and I got to be a guest on the Today Show, and her and I didn't get along.
It's very big these days, and according to Match.com, 31% of people met their last date online.
Yeah, a new show on Bravo called Online Dating Rituals of the American Male goes behind the scenes with real guys who are looking for love, allegedly. All right, take a look.
The best part about dating online is you can go to multiple dates in the same day. If you like something you see, you can blow off the last few dates. The more times you swing the bat, the better chance you have of hitting a home run. I own a car dealership, and I'm also in the bail bond business.
Wow.
So, free psycho.
Listen, hold on. No, but it's stupid. I just want to see you see Kathy Lee get mad at me. Hold on, I'll fast forward.
Does that blow your mind?
Not in a good way.
In a bad way?
Me failing. Okay, look, I'm a little chunkier too. Hold on, let's see.
Like the ones who play a little game.
Quick response.
Let's see. Hold on, let me see her.
Things on their profile.
She doesn't like me.
Very freaky.
Okay.
Have you met anybody?
Oh, I've met too many ladies.
But have you met anybody, like a real somebody?
I have, yeah. Using the online dating site Tryst, I met a girl on the show. You obviously haven't seen the episode, but yeah, me and the girl have gotten very freaky, Hoda, from the show. I'm telling you.
All right. What about Catman? What about?
I said I got very freaky, and she ended the segment. She ended the segment because I said I'm getting freaky.
9 Central on our sister network.
Oh, she's probably having a heart attack.
Nah,
she's a religious nut. Like, she's very religious.
Yeah, I know. There's a bunch more to the segment. Like, the lady was like, it was supposed to be like a double segment, and Kathleen was like, oh, he's not saying getting freaky on this morning show. It's just fucking whatever. But yeah, so Kathy Lee, I'm not that big of a Kathy Lee Gifford fan, to be quite honest either.
Yeah. Well, Howard's good friends with her now. Now they're buddies.
Exactly. That's how Howard stinks.
Yeah. Everyone he hated, he's best friends with now. Yeah, and everyone who he loved are banned and out of his life. Gilbert Gottfried, Artie, Stuttering John. The list is long. Pat Cooper. I'm on the banned list. I'm banned. He and I had a tremendous falling out. Front page of the New York Post falling out.
Somebody said in the chat, I'm a degenerate that needs Jesus Christ. Tell that Wilhelm, you're right. I am a degenerate. I need Jesus Christ like yesterday. Yeah, tell him I am not a role model, Wilhelm. I just wanted everybody to know that in the chat. Okay, but so tell me this. What was your was your peak, you think, of your experience? Because you did a lot of, you'd call into the show all the time, but like when was your... I was listening to one of your interviews. You're saying now you don't think the Howard Stern show likes you, but he doesn't like anybody. We just clear. But like, what do you tell me?
It's more than just dislike. I got banned for life, and it was on the front page of the New York Post. I went out in a ball of fire. It was the week. It was not that long after Get John's job. I got a call from the SEC, the Securities Exchange Commission in New York, and they asked me if I would come in for an interview regarding Howard Stern and Sirius Satellite Radio. I thought it was Sal playing games, so I hung up. About 2 minutes later, they called back. I hang up again. The next day, I get a FedEx package from the Securities Exchange Commission in New York with a subpoena saying I have to go in and talk about Howard Stern and Sirius. I thought that was fake because I didn't think that they would FedEx you a subpoena to talk to the SEC. So I called everybody. I even called Gary. I called the Stern Show. They said, "Oh, it's got to be fake. Don't even worry about it." But it didn't look fake. So I faxed it to the business editor of the New York Post, who I knew, and he would tell me if it was real. Well, this was a Friday, and Howard just started his vacation. The next day, I'm in Dunkin' Donuts. And there's the New York Post
in Manhattan,
subpoena and a picture of Howard Stern. Chauncey is going to bring down Howard Stern.
And what was the subpoena for? What was it?
It was for illegal trading with Sirius Satellite Radio.
And it's because why? You went on a show or something? What happened?
I had a show on ABC. They had an internet show. Oh yeah. Excuse me, my daughter wants to.
Of course, no, please.
She's mad that you're not interviewing her.
Well, me casa, su casa, Poppy. Sorry, your dad is a legendary man, and we're gonna have to have multiple interviews, or maybe in the future we'll have Poppy on again.
I did the show on ABC with Gigi Stone, and she said to me at the end of the show, Howard, what do you think he's going to do when his contract runs out? And I said, well, he's not going to XM because Opie and Anthony are there. He's not going to stay on terrestrial. He's going to go to Sirius. You can bet the house on it. Well, a few months later, I'm in the studio with Howard, and he announces he's going to Sirius. The SEC thought that Howard fed me this information to put out there in the media so the stock would rise after Howard had already bought the stock, which is a crime, which is criminal.
Yeah, of course. That's what Martha Stewart did.
Yeah, so they thought they had him, and they were going to use me to get him, but it was all a lie because I didn't own stock, and I didn't even know if it was true. I was guessing.
Yeah.
So anyway, this whole week, Fox News puts me on the air for an hour with Neil Cavuto. The Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post, everybody does all these interviews with me. All the satellite news trucks are in front of my house waiting for me to step out the door. And Howard's down, in the Caribbean. And when he came back to this mess.
Yeah.
And that was the end of me and Howard, at least as far as being
cordial
with each other. Yeah, after that, it was just ugliness.
So, and that was right at the end of his time in terrestrial radio, so really didn't miss anything because after that, he stunk. Once he got to see,
it was perfect. For me, it was perfect. It was the perfect out because it made me historically notorious. Like, I went out on the front page of the New York Post. I walked away from that show in a ball of fire, and I never had to deal with the horror of Sirius satellite radio. Never had to do it. So for me, it couldn't have been more perfect.
Well, you had a lot of trials and tribulations, so I think you're right. How many times did you get sued as a journalist, Chaunce?
Oh, many times. I got sued by Opie and Anthony. Not Opie and Anthony, just Opie.
And I love Opie and Anthony. You know, it's funny. I used to think Opie and Anthony stinks. Now I go back and I love Opie. I go back and listen to old. Yeah. Now I'm an Opie and Anthony fan. I love Anthony Cumia. Anthony Cumia is one of the best broadcasters in radio.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
I did a show not too long ago, and he's a genius.
He really is.
Opie hates me. He sued me, but I won. I ended up winning.
But let's talk about it. This is a crazy thing. So, guys, for the people that are playing at home that don't realize that Opie was part of a legendary radio show. His name's Greg Hughes, and they call him Opie, of a legendary tag team duo, Opie and Anthony,
working on Greg shows,
and they were rivals with Howard, or somewhat, you know, whatever you want to call it. They were his arch nemesis, but they kind of did their own thing. But what I'm trying to say is there was this rumor that ended up being false that Bam Margera actually had a sex tape with Opie's current wife and fiance.
With his fiance at the time. Now she's his wife. Yeah.
And so explain the story. How you didn't even write a story. You just asked somebody about it to another investigator. What is it?
Yes, you're right. So me, I was a freelancer for Page 6 of the New York Post, which was before, when TMZ really didn't exist. Page 6 used to be the go-to for gossip. If you got your name in Page 6, it was a big deal. So I used to work at Page 6 on a lot of stories. So I called them up and I said, do you think this story is true about Opie's fiance and Bam? And they said, we heard the same story. We're working on it. They said, let's both work it, and we'll talk about it in a few days and compare notes, and maybe we'll do something on it. I said, awesome. I said, this is what I have so far. This is what I've been told. So you tell me what you've been told, and we'll talk in a few days. So we did. The next day, they wrote this story that I am announcing that the fiance did this tape with Bam, and I didn't even know if it was true. I didn't even write about it. I didn't even do anything. And Opie goes on a tirade for the next several weeks about how bad I am and how angry he is at me, and oh my God, and then he sued me for $10 million.
Well, he probably thought you were part of the Howard Stern show, and you know he wanted to be connected to that. And he was mad his fiance was getting that rumor because it ended up being false. So he was right. So you got to get
false. Yeah. It was false. But this is the best part of the story. Okay. So I got this lawyer, the same lawyer that represented. Remember Bernard Goetz, the subway killer in New York?
Did he push somebody on a subway track, or what was he?
He shot these muggets. He shot these several black guys that were robbing him.
And what was he trying to be, like a vigilante or something?
Yeah, he was a vigilante, and he became super famous. It was a world news. Anyway, that was his lawyer. This guy, his name was Darnay, and he said he'd represent me for free. And he was a terrible lawyer. He was awful.
Usually, that's what terrible lawyers cost. Usually,
he had spaghetti stains on his shirt. We do these depositions. He never asked questions. I said, Darnay Hoffman was his name. I said, you got to ask questions. You got to do something. He goes, no, I got them right where I want them. I got them right where I want. They don't think I know what I'm doing. This is what I want them to think. He sued me for $10 million. And anyway, it went to the Supreme Court. And we won.
Why did it? Because it was just because you never wrote about it, so it wasn't technically defamation. But since you talked about it with a public journalist,
the reason why I keep winning these cases is, well, number one, I never wrote anything, and number two, when you're a celebrity, it's very hard to sue because you have to prove two things. You have to prove either your chastity was compromised, which nobody was compromising anyone's chastity. Or you have to prove that somehow you can no longer make a living, that you're no longer able to provide a living for yourself. So you can't just say, if you're famous, you can't just say, I don't like people's opinions on me. Anytime someone says a false opinion, I'm going to sue you. You can't sue for that. That's a misnomer. So I could say anything about anybody who's famous, and it's very, very difficult for them to win money from me. It really is. So this guy wouldn't give up, though. He wouldn't give up. So he took it to the Supreme Court, and we won. And then the next day, oh, wait, I got to hold my daughter's ear. So hold on a second.
Okay,
so the next day, I can still hear you. No, well, then you have to leave the room. Can you hear me? Okay. The next day, my lawyer put a steak knife to his chest.
Yeah, what was that? That's crazy. What, he was just depressed or something?
He was depressed.
Manhattan is a terrible place, isn't it? I mean, it's not.
He won my case and then, did himself in. Oh.
Yeah, he should have been in a great mood. Why was he such a bad?
I was going to buy him dinner.
Well, how do you know something didn't happen to him, Chauncey? How do you know? Maybe
Opie had him. Maybe Opie did something.
I'm just saying.
That's a show. That's a show for you.
Exactly. Well, I mean, it's not that Opie would take him out, but these guys, these high-powered Supreme Court attorneys, don't want to lose, and sometimes they do a personal vendetta. I don't know. We can get into it with that's really getting in the weeds, But
either way, that was another case that I won. That I was sued and won. It was just when you're a celebrity reporter, and every week you're interviewing somebody and getting a lot of dirt from them. You're putting yourself out there to be sued because anytime somebody writes something that they don't like, you're the one to blame in their mind, and you're taking a risk. I just never lost a case. I refused to be intimidated, and that's why I always got good dirt because I didn't care. I challenged them to sue me, because at the end of the day, it wasn't gossip. Gossip is a rumor that you can't prove. With me, I met these people, had lunch with them or dinner with them, and had them on tape. So anything somebody told me, I could prove. I always had an audio tape.
I like that. You must have had tons of tapes around. I can't imagine the 90s with that, kind of outdated technology.
3,000 tapes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. How would you go back? How would you label them, Chauncey, if you even needed to go back?
Oh, my God. That was the best question I've ever been asked. Like Brooke Shields. I was so lazy, and I never knew when it was going to end. So when I had 10, I never thought there was going to be an 11th tape, So I would just take, tape, and like Brooke Shields, I write BS, Brooke Shields, and I throw it in a box. Or, if it was Donald Trump.
DT.
DT or Don, and I threw it in a box. So I had this dusty box of tapes with these faded pieces of Scotch tape with pen fading on it of who all these people were. I mean, whenever I needed to get a tape, I'd have to lay them all on the floor and go one by one and really look at the tape and try and figure out what it was. I had no system of organization whatsoever.
But see, that's back in the day before the internet, so it wasn't that absurd. You know what I mean? I remember my dad with his Rolodex.
Yeah, there was no digital.
Yeah,
everything was on a cassette tape. Every interview I did was on a cassette player. And that's how it was. Yeah.
Okay, so tell me this: what's the biggest interaction you ever had with Trump?
Well,
he's a sleaze bag.
Go to YouTube and type his name and my name.
Okay, what was it? Chaunce.
And you can hear the call when he woke me up at 3 a.m. and begged me not to run a story.
The time Donald Trump called, hey, okay, should we play the phone call? Is it a 5-minute? This looks like
it's a 5-minute phone call. Yeah, okay, hold on. Donald Trump's begging me not to run a story.
Okay.
3 a.m. He woke me up.
Oh, I believe it. Sure. So he calls you, and does he say he's done? Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear it for the people.
Yeah, you can hear it.
This is so awesome. I think Trump's very crooked, but this is so cool that you watch. I like Trump, honestly. I don't dislike him. I think he's great, but I think he's terrible.
Come up on my phone. I said, I got to record this. This is going to be awesome. 3 a.m. What does he want?
Okay, and this is in 2004.
See, my man.
Am I fired?
How are you? You'll never fire you, Chauncey. But Chaunce, we've been good to your magazine with The Apprentice. You saw the ratings; it went to #1. I mean, it's killing it.
The show is huge.
It's huge. It's the biggest thing, and the NBC people just stuffed. They said it's the biggest show they've had since Friends.
Well, it's what we both predicted.
Yeah, that's true. Chaunce, this person, I don't even know who the hell she is. I never took her out. I don't know who she is. And by the way, based on her picture, I would never take her. She looks like a fucking third-grade hooker. I mean, give me a break. I never took this girl out.
She claims that she was more
days. We really got to close it. Wait, that's the president of the United States. See, that's why I love Trump. But see, that's why I like him. A lot of people don't want to.
I love him too. I love him. I do.
He used to rate the girl. Oh my gosh, he was so good.
It gets better.
He's so good on this show. He was so good. Okay, let's go.
Never took her out. She's full of shit.
And why is he mad? Because some girl said he took her out? I mean, he's calling you because it's some girl.
Oh, he was so furious about it. He was
well,
so
okay,
angry.
what's the backstory? What's the backstory? What happened?
So her name was Victoria Zadrock, Dr. Zadrock. And she was in Playboy and Penthouse. And she had photos of her and Donald out on a date. And she did this big interview with me about what it's like to go on a date with Donald Trump. So I called him a few days before that to ask for a comment about her interview about dating him. So it took him a couple of days, but he couldn't sleep. He was so upset by it that in the middle of the night he had to call me, and this is what he said.
What a win. I mean, I know he's all about his image, but it's because he took out a penthouse pedo.
You know, take a look. Hey, Chaunce, look, I have good taste. People just stuff. They said it's the big band.
Am I fired?
How are you? You'll never fire you, Chaunce. But Chaunce, we've been good to your magazine with The Apprentice. You saw the ratings. It went to #1. I mean, it's killing it.
The show is huge.
It's huge. It's the biggest thing in NBA. NBC people just stuff. They said it's the biggest show they've had since Friends.
Well, it's what we both predicted.
Yeah, that's true. Chaunce, this person.
I like he calls you Chaunce. This is so cool. He's calling you Chaunce.
We were buddies.
Donald Trump. I'd love him to call me Al. I'd love to get on the phone. Hey, Al. I'd be like, yes, sir.
How cool is that? The president, right?
That's really cool. Whether you like him or not, I don't care. That's cool. Yeah, I like him too. You know, really, the thing is, at the end of the day, he doesn't have our back. You know, he's an elitist like all those people. He gave us the impression that he did. He's better than Biden, though. I'll tell you that much.
They're all the same.
They're all crooked. Yeah.
I never took her out. I don't know who she is. And by the way, based on her
But see, I like this. See, this is why I like Trump, because I like this call right here. I like this call.
He's going to get into it with me.
Yeah. Take her. She looks like a fucking third-grade hooker. I mean, give me a break. I never took this girl out.
She claims that she went on 4 dates.
I never took her out. She's full of shit.
Take a
look. Hey, Chaunce, look, I have good taste in women.
Right.
Take a look at her picture. First of all, she's not a Playboy girl. She's like a Playboy something girl, they say. Yeah. #1. Anything, it's all bullshit. I never took her out. How long ago was this? 10 years ago?
Did you read her quote? She said that, I guess, you were considering using her for an ad campaign.
That's bullshit. That's just total bullshit. And #1. #2, who the fuck? I use models for that. I don't use Playboy people for that stuff.
That's right. She said that. I guess she contacted Playboy Promotions.
No, but I don't use Playboy people for that. We use models.
You know, I
total bullshit, Chauncey.
I sent her a couple of emails trying to
this is
to
so
get her to
awesome.
respond to me. I haven't heard back.
It's total bullshit. I have no idea. Except I know one thing. She called up the office like 10 different times years ago. This is like 5 years ago. That's the only reason, because it was an unusual spelling. I never took her out. She wanted to go out. Did Norma tell you she used to call?
She said that she would call the office nonstop. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the only reason I recognize her name. That was like 5, 6, 7 years.
It's just okay. Obviously, Trump's full of it because how does she have the number to call the office?
Exactly. So he went from saying that he didn't know her to now he knows her.
He never took her out. She's a dog, and now she's calling the office line to get like.
Oh yeah, it's better. Like, as it goes on, now she's stalking him. He knows all about her.
You're talking about
with a lunatic.
Yeah. You're dealing with ancient history, #1, and you're dealing with a person.
Hey, you wrote an article what it's like to go out with Donald Trump, and he's
never took out. And based on her picture, I would never take out. She's not even attractive.
Right.
He's such a liar. He's so awesome. He's such a liar. He's lying.
She's not attractive. She was Playboy Playmate of the Year.
You know she was attractive. Come
She's
on.
not a good-looking girl.
Yeah. She's in her mid-30s now.
What's her name? You remember her name? Let's pull her name. What's her name?
If he never met her, how does she know what she looks like?
Can you remember her name, Chauncey?
Victoria Zadrock.
Victoria Zadrock. Let me see. Hold on. Victoria Zadrock.
Z. Oh, I think it's Z Zadrock. See, that should get you close enough.
Victoria Zadrock.
Yeah.
Oh, he went out. mean? What do you mean? He went out with her 1,000%. He went out with this girl.
Of course.
This is Stormy Daniels 2.0.
It looks like his first wife.
Dude, give me a break. And she's pretty. I mean, she's looking. You know, she's kind of did some work.
He ever dated or married.
I want to be like her.
No, you don't want to be like her.
you don't wanna
Okay.
be
Hold
like
on.
her.
But let's go. This interview is so good. This Donald Trump thing.
No. Well, she is Penthouse Pet of the Year.
When?
This year, 2004.
A penthouse. Who the hell wants a penthouse pet? Penthouse is gone. It's bankrupt. It's over. I mean, penthouse. She's a 35-year-old penthouse pet. That's pretty pathetic.
Wow! Dude, she's a 35-year-old. Wow!
It's being played all over the world every day.
How is this not the number one thing? This is the best thing. I mean, did the media never pick this up and play this?
Never picked it up. Nobody ever picked it up. Nope.
This is just because it's all a lie. That just shows you this is real journalism. They won't show this. They'll make up a bunch of stuff, but they won't show the real good stuff.
Yeah, this is real.
This is the good because this would make people like them. If people listen to this would make it.
That's why they won't play it.
Exactly. This would make a normal guy not like him.
You shouldn't write a story like that. That's bullshit. You think I'm going to go out with a penthouse pet? Penthouse is. I thought it was Playboy.
Well, she was Playboy. She's the only girl ever to do both. That's her claim to fame.
Oh, she's forget it. I never took her out.
So she's riding a coattail. She's trying to hop on.
Hey, excuse me. This is the fourth time that this has happened to me in the last 2 weeks.
This is the show.
You know, the show went to #1. I don't know. You just saw that, I guess.
Yeah. Now the girls are coming out of the woodwork.
Well, at least 2 of them actually I did date, and actually they were very nice. They said great things about me.
And this is one who
I had another one that said terrible about me, but I never even heard of her. At least this one I heard of because she used to call the office, and I didn't speak to her. But look, it's total bullshit, and you know it's not right to have somebody ride the coats. You know the only reason I call you about it. It'd be easy just
coach. So he says that. He just said that like he says it all the time. Like, you know, he has slang for ride the coattails. Like, wow. I mean, but
he's got his game on, you know, like that's Donald Trump. But he was the same way in the White House. There was no difference. Same guy.
Not to call you goes so nobody gives a shit. The truth is, it's just so fucking false.
Okay.
I don't
it's
like
so
to
true.
with this crap.
That's all I need to hear.
So anyway, and we treat you good. I tell Jim Dowd, always treat you guys good. You sold a lot of magazines with our stuff.
Did you see the issue?
I thought it was amazing. That's why I wanted to call you up. I thought
all every day for copies from all over the country.
No, I know. It's well, you know, TV Guide. I mean, I'll give you a real story. The biggest selling TV Guide in 2 years was the one this last week.
You're kidding.
The biggest.
You're kidding.
You sort of knew that. That was a great cover.
It's unbelievable, Donald.
But it's crazy. I mean, you know, pretty soon I'll have to give up the real estate business, right? So anyway, I better not do that.
No, that's what you love.
I better not count on that. So anyway, but it's it's fun. But I have had this.
So he's talking about giving up the real estate business. Just funny how that he really always wanted to give up the real estate business. Obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, he puts his names on buildings, but everybody finances. Other people finance it.
Those are buildings that people buy that name.
Exactly. They just use it. It's just a branding tool.
Yeah, brand.
One of the two. 2 were really nice. One of the 2, I didn't go out with her. But she said the nicest things. I said, fuck it. Who cares? I mean, she was saying I was the greatest, the best. I said, if she said that, who cares? But, you know, they come out of the woodwork. And
I love his ego. I love that. But, I mean, why not? The girl said he took her out and had a good time. He's right. See, that's why the media won't play it, because he's being cool about it. You know what I mean?
It doesn't damage him enough.
No. He looks like a normal guy. He looks like a normal guy.
That's just bullshit to get publicity. I mean, a 35-year-old penthouse pet. I would never
He's so caught up on that.
Penthouse, because that's the worst. That's like the lowest of the low. You understand?
That's when it's over.
It's over. I mean, I can think that, you know, what they show in Penthouse is so gross. That's why it's out of business.
Yeah.
So anyway, listen, I appreciate it, Chaunce. How you doing otherwise?
Okay, I'm thinking AJ Benz has something to do with this. He may be behind this.
Well, see, what happened is I stole his girlfriend from him.
I remember that.
Okay, and when I stole it, just off the record.
Yeah.
I don't think he does, because he wrote me. Actually, he's another one that came out of the woodwork. This off the record.
Right.
And Trump and AJ Benza had a huge beef, and you worked for AJ Benza. Is that correct? Is that what you're connected?
I actually like AJ.
I like him too. Yeah, AJ was good. And he probably should have kept Artie's chair if he didn't freak out on John. I think AJ would have been probably just as good as Artie in that seat.
Yeah,
I mean, Artie's more of a comic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Another victim.
I know. Okay, but so Sky Bear, shut up. My cat will not. He is being crazy today. They have food. He's just. But I'm telling you, Chauncey. So your interactions. Tell me some more though. What other interactions did you have with Trump? Other than that,
I've known Trump for 30 years. He used to have me come up to his office, and the two of us would sit there and just shoot the shit.
Wow, that's incredible. And he was just down. He would just talk to you like that. He'd call you Chaunce, and he'd just be like, That is hilarious. But okay, so we gotta just we've really gone through everything, Chaunce. But what do you think in your celebrity, and all the stuff you talked about? What is some of the conspiracy? This is the conspiracy castle that we didn't see. What do you think? I know you've revealed a lot of stuff about Howard, but what do you think is, you saw a lot of behind the scenes of these celebrities. Give us some of the juicy details. Give us something. Tell us something, Chauncey, for the people that are playing at home.
Oh my God. Well,
I know that's a general question and your daughter's right there.
Yeah, I got to think. Because, it's funny. Whenever people ask me questions like that, you have to realize they've interviewed 3,000 people. So imagine trying to then categorize in your head 3,000 interviews and think which one, who did what.
All the ones that went to court are the biggest ones.
The ones that went to court are the good ones, but there was so many. If I was more prepared, I would have a list of. Here's a good one. You remember Roseanne and Tom Arnold?
Are you kidding? I love Roseanne still. Yeah. I did. I'm a diehard Roseanne. She's badass. She's awesome. She's the coolest.
One of the big stories I broke was I interviewed Tom Arnold, and he told me that, and this was all on tape. He said, if anyone on our show goes on the Howard Stern show, they're fired. They're off the show, and you have to sign a contract saying if you call into the Howard Stern show, if you have any relationship with the Howard Stern show, you're fired. You're terminated. So that became a big story because a lot of people on that show, like Sandra Bernhardt and Sally Kirkland, were close friends with Howard, and they were all on the show. So they got to stop going on Howard, and that became pretty big news at the time.
Yeah, that was huge because they hated it. But what was the beef with what did he say? The Roseanne and them were on drugs, or what? Why did Roseanne hate Howard so much?
What did he say? He said he said a lot of bad things about her, but I think they're buddies now too. I think they're all friends. That was how I used to get on Howard all the time because I would always throw in an interview. I'd say, so out of the blue, I'd go, so what do you think of Howard Stern? And I would get these A-list celebrities to give me their honest opinion of Howard, and then I would send the tape into Howard, and the next day he'd play it and plug me in the magazine, and meanwhile start a month worth of content for him of a new feud. David Allen Geer,
all those new people.
Clinton. All these people I got, it was amazing.
Did you know Beth before Howard? Is that true?
Yes, I did know Beth. Well, Beth, I lived in a town called Glen Rock, New Jersey, and Beth was a catalog model, and she used to take the bus at the top of my street and walk over to this building where she would shoot for the catalog. So I always saw Beth down at the corner of my block before she even knew Howard.
How do you know so many models? You know her. I mean, keep going, but you knew so many models. Okay, so you knew her from New Jersey?
I photographed over, God knows, 5,000-10,000 in my life.
Wow, so that sounds very fun. That sounds fun. Okay, go ahead.
I've had a very, very wild, crazy life. I just retired. I literally just retired.
I could stay here all day.
Yeah, you can. Okay, but wait. But so you knew her because why? She would take the bus to her modeling job?
Take the bus from New York City.
And why did you know her? Because she's a 6 foot tall blonde, and everybody. She's 6. Yeah,
6 foot tall blonde model at the corner of your block every day in a little suburb, white picket fence town. And she would walk. It was about a half-mile walk from the bus stop to the office where she had to go. So you'd see this tall, thin, blonde model, walking down the street all the time. Yeah.
Wow, and so that's how you got, and then but how did Howard meet Beth? Like, how did he get with Beth?
They had a dinner at Nobu with a bunch of people. Richie Notar, what was the general manager of Nobu at the time, and he would always have Howard come in. They'd have these dinners, and Beth was on a date with another guy, and Howard was interested and got her number.
Bye.
There he goes. Where did he go?
See you tomorrow.
Where did he go?
Happy Easter.
Hello, everybody.
Sorry, Chauncey, my cat is just going absurd. Now I'm trying to catch him. He's running away from me.
Oh my God!
I've never been there. We're doing this interview, and somebody in the chat is getting mad because of your daughter Poppy being here, which I think is totally fine. But do you want to defend yourself in the chat?
Close your ears. If it ever gets racy, I go like this.
Yeah, I know. And Poppy's he's a dad. Listen, we're not talking about anything X-rated. We're talking about adult content, but we're trying to keep it respectful. They said the Conspiracy Castle is not a perverted or bad show.
Yeah, we're not talking about anything.
Yes, I just want to defend you myself. But listen, so Chauncey, of your experience with Howard Stern, I mean, is it positive or is it negative now looking back? I mean, I guess we're laughing about it, but...
Oh, it was positive because, listen, I did the show for 20 years, and you know me because of that show.
It's true.
People everywhere know me because of that show. So that show helped my career. It got me on Fox News. It got me on CNN. I've written for Playboy. I've written for Rolling Stone, for Spin. I became a great success as a journalist, both on TV, radio, and in print, all because of the Howard Stern show. None of that would have happened otherwise.
And what was this? What was Steppin' Out magazine? Is your magazine for 25 years, something like that? What was? What? Explain.
This one.
What?
They spelled my name with a Y.
Oh, Poppy spelled with an I, not a Y.
Oh, yeah, somebody spelled it wrong. Yeah. Hold on, let me catch my cat. Oh, my God.
It said Happy Easter, Poppy.
What are these? Oh, my God, they're saying disgusting things.
He's really being bad. Everybody in the chat's like, this show is going crazy. Sorry about that. I just can't. He's going nuts. I love this guy.
I'm saying crazy things. It's ridiculous. Right?
I know he was, but we gotta. That's what I'm saying. It's too hot for TV for the cat. Okay, yeah. I mean, Chauncey, your career in Howard's precipice, but let's kind of talk about what do you think's the biggest lie that Howard's currently living? Like, now that he's Mr. America, he was Miss America. Now he's Mr. America. Do you think he will ever, get canceled or face any justice, I guess we'll say, for all of his...
Because he's number one, he's a billionaire. He basically owns Hollywood.
Real quick. Larry King's estate, he dies. They said it's only worth like $2.5 million. That can't be right. Did you see that, Chauncey?
I would believe that. Larry King didn't make a lot of money at CNN.
What? He was on the air for his whole life.
And he was married several times. He had ex-wives. He had kids. He had all kinds of things going on.
$2.5 million seems low. I mean, I guess he was an older guy, but he worked every day till he died.
He was an old guy. Yeah, he was a very old guy.
Yeah, but I'm just saying he worked every day. I don't think the guy took a day off. I mean,
when he left CNN, he probably wasn't making more than $100,000 a year on that commercial show.
No, he wasn't making much on that, but he was working. He was making a few $100,000 probably. I mean, okay, but let's give the guy a break. I just can't. 2.5 seems low, but he lived a good lifestyle, I'm guessing. He probably spent a lot of it. He wasn't a dummy. Okay, but no, explain. So Howard says all the N-word, does all this bad stuff. He's never going to face any justice. But see, what makes me mad is I believe that what they do is they put him out to pasture on Sirius. They said, Howard, you can be wild, you can be crazy, but we're going to put you on Sirius. We're going to pay you a lot of money. And then he got bored on there, and that's why he fully made that Marcy Turk transition, because he wanted to go back to the mainstream so bad.
Well, there's also another side to it. He has 2 daughters. He has daughters. It was embarrassing for them. And those kids, as they got older, didn't want to be associated with that old Howard Stern. He had to change his life if he wanted a relationship with those kids.
Yeah, but when you say that, but those kids are adults now. Like, in one of the daughters, didn't she model? And wasn't she an actress in a play where she was a nude scene, I believe? Is that correct?
Yeah, but they're very, very private, extremely
private. One's
a
really religious, supposedly, and the other
one's are very religious. Yeah. It was a bit of a problem also. And plus, Howard didn't want his legacy to be that guy throwing baloney at strippers.
Yeah, but he's an idiot. He's an idiot because I'm the one that's going to preserve his legacy. I'm not saying me just individually. Well, I mean, partially. I mean, I still respect Howard. He's the best broadcaster there ever was. But I'm just saying, the guys that actually know Howard are the ones that notice his change the most. You know what I mean? There are still some zombies like, oh, Howard's still good. But nobody listens to Howard anymore, Chauncey. I mean,
no, nobody. I always say that. You could spend all day saying, "Did you hear Howard Stern?" They would say, "Who? Who? I don't even know who that is." Like nobody listens. Nobody.
And his interviews stink. When's it?
Interviews are they're all fluff interviews. It's sad. It is sad. I'd rather he had quit and walked away from it than doing what he's doing now, because I think he really hurt his legacy. I believe.
Chauncey, you would argue that Rush Limbaugh was a more controversial broadcaster than Howard Stern at the end of their careers. Much more controversial.
Of course, yeah, because Rush Limbaugh stayed true to who he was.
Exactly. That's it, dude. And see, you remember when Rush, in Rush, he didn't have to go after Rush too much. A little bit he did, because he knew Rush had a real built-in audience that he couldn't get after those conservatives. But you're telling me, think about a world we live in where Howard Stern went from doing all those stuffs, you with Beetlejuice's Family, Eric the actor, Hank the Angry Dwarf, and you're going to say that Rush Limbaugh was the more censored and hated on.
Who believed that, right?
Dude, that's the upside down world. They used to have a picture of Rush Limbaugh in Times Square. He's all fat with his coffee mug.
With his tie. Well, there was another guy named Bob Grant. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's the one that inspired Howard. Howard wanted to be who he is because of a guy named Bob Grant, who worked until he was in his 90s on radio in New York and never changed. It was outrageous.
So Howard stole his gimmick, basically?
That's what Bob Grant says. Bob Grant told me once that when Howard was 10 years old, he came up to him outside. They went to the same temple. And Howard said, "One day I want to do what you do." And Bob Grant was on the air for like 65, 70 years. And was outrageous, right up till he died.
Wait, hold on. Let me show you this. So this is who he is. This is Bob Grant, the radio.
That's Bob Grant. Yeah, he was the guy. He was the first shock jock, the real.
Okay, let's hear Bob Grant, crazy radio moment. Crazy. I spelled crazy wrong. Crazy radio moment. I can't even spell. Well, there's gonna be.
There was so many.
Let's hear him dealing with a prank caller. This will be good.
Oh yeah, he was.
Bob in Queens on WOR. What's on your problem, Bob?
Well, Bob, it's everyone's problem, and it's a problem. I've heard you speak about it. Of course, it's the immigration problem. I've heard you speak so much about the Mexicans and the problems that they've brought to this country. But I want to talk to you about a group that's come to this country with their own criminal networks and really have changed America, and what dirtbags we let into this country, Bob. Change the criminal nature of this country. And of course, I'm talking about the Sicilians, and what a disgrace that we let them in. Don't you agree with me, Bob?
You're a very clever guy. You're very clever, but you're not funny. You're not entertaining. I can see right through you, Bob. And if I were Sicilian, or if I weren't Sicilian, I would loathe you, despise you, because you're a little sneak. First of all, I understand you told our producer you wanted to talk about something else. You know what I want you to do, Bob? I want you to get off my phone. And if you should ever run into me, please identify yourself so I'll know who you are. I'll snap my fingers and a couple of these Sicilians that you were talking about may appear out of nowhere. And you know what, pal? The East River gets colder and colder at this time of the year.
It's awesome.
Here's Jay in Hicksville, Long Island on WOR.
He's a real broadcaster.
WAB.
He was the best. He really was the best. And he'll tell you, he told me that Howard told him that I want to do what you do one day. I want to be like you.
And if they went to the same synagogue, would you think Howard Stern, I believe that he's in part of the Illuminati, like he's part of a secret clan of people that are, picked or chosen to be.
Not only, when you have $1 billion there's all kinds of secret
He's like, that's
things.
what I'm saying. He's in some sort of club, dude, that we're not in. Okay, explain this. How did you get it? This is a good story I want to hear. So one of my favorite shows as a young kid was Son of the Beach on FX, and Howard went out with the black girl on the show?
Yeah, he did, and I got an interview with her, and Howard went crazy over this. Oh, he was so mad. She told me every secret that you have to go through to date Howard Stern, the fake names you have to use, what he does when he brings you up. You can't go up to the apartment with him. You go up separately in another back elevator, and then how he gives you the tour of the apartment. Wait, I gotta go like this again. And how the bedroom is last, and
wow,
oh my God, it was great. That might be. I think that's on YouTube. I think you can. That whole show was on YouTube somewhere.
Okay, I gotta find that one.
Yeah,
wow,
that's a good one. Yeah.
So Son of the Beach, though, that was a flop. But I mean, Howard didn't need a TV show. The E! Show was the best show there ever was.
Yeah. He made a lot of money with that. He made a lot of money with his on-demand show after that, and. And Sirius was the one that really made him a billionaire, because he had all those stock options and incentives that he met every one of them and became one of the richest people in the world.
I love my gay brothers and sisters, but this show went a little too male on male in the Sirius years with Richard Christie and Sal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I like those guys, but I don't know why they do that. Howard just loves.
It was too cheap and too easy to go to when he had nothing to do. And it was part of the decline of the show.
Well, they say people like Howard Stern or Ellen DeGeneres. I think it might have been you. I was listening. You said, didn't Howard have Ellen DeGeneres on, or he said, "Oh, if you treat your staff bad, you should own it," something like that. And then you look at Howard Stern. He was making fun of Ellen, and nobody on Howard Stern's staff likes him. So what's the story? Scott the engineer had to do. So
that was the worst.
Well, you tell the story. You tell it.
Well, Scott's wife got cancer, and Scott's been working with Howard for over 30 years. And Scott started a GoFundMe page to pay for her chemotherapy treatments. And Howard told him, or he had Marcy tell Scott that he had to take it down. He couldn't use the name. Oh, go ahead. He couldn't use the name Stern. He couldn't call himself Scott the engineer. And then, so Scott took all that out of it.
He said he couldn't call himself Scott the engineer in the GoFundMe? Shut up.
For his wife dying of cancer. And then when he still did just as Scott, his regular name, and he made enough money to pay for the chemotherapy, Howard was so humiliated by it and so embarrassed that he sent Scott to a whole nother floor, never put him on the air again, couldn't be on the same floor as him, and then eventually just fired him.
I mean, Scott the engineer was there for 25 years. I mean, and Scott the engineer, hold on, let me show you something. Scott the engineer push-up challenge. This was the best. This is probably some of the best radio Howard ever did. Do you remember the push-up challenge with Scott?
Of course. When he was arguing over how many push-ups he did, he would lose his temper.
We got to show a little quick thing. This is one of the best moments. It's like the pinnacle of the show. Let me show this. Okay.
I hear people getting nervous saying he's going to do it because he dropped it.
Okay, hold on.
Get the camera out of here.
Okay, so this guy, so for context at home, the guy we're showing you, this guy's name's Scott the engineer, this guy right here. He's been on the show worked on the show for over 30 years. And recently his wife was diagnosed with cancer and she passed away already. And he asked for money, and Howard Stern not only didn't give him money, but when he did a GoFundMe, he made him change the GoFundMe so that it didn't say Scott the engineer. And this, what we're about to show you, this clip is one of the most famous E! episodes ever there ever was.
Hey! I would have never let you come if I knew you were going to use the tape. No fucking way, Ganji. Now stay out of my face.
Scott, I told you.
Get out of my face!
The show was great. That's when the show was great.
Is this wrestling? No.
He's all out of breath.
Did you do with Vince McMahon?
Some of the best radio ever.
Get the camera out of here! Scott, out of here! Now! Come on!
Turn it off.
Get out!
What's going on?
Grabbed Ganji and shoved him and took the camera and yelled in Tom's face.
Why?
I
mean, look at Howard. He looks like a freak. I mean, I'm not just saying that. I mean, I like Howard. You know, I really liked him.
Hold on a second. Look at his forehead right now. As you see the years go by, that hairline goes further down, closer to his nose.
Shut up! His hairline has changed. It's going closer.
Yes. There are pictures. If you search, you'll find photos with his hairline below that hairline.
Hold on.
Nobody's hair grows like that. Look, I see one already. Look, there are pictures.
Yeah, I mean, look at it there. I mean, it's kind of, obviously, I think it's a wig. I mean, yeah, look at it right there.
It's a wig.
I told you.
Just look at that hairline. It's different. Totally different.
Let's see.
I told Doug not to use it, goddammit!
I think he's cracking from all the training.
He just cracked.
Yeah, he just cracked, Howard.
What's the difference? Who cares? Yeah. What is he doing now?
Dying.
Oh my God, he looks like he's dying. Look at this training session. He's going to drop.
Hey, Robin, come over here so you can sit down and talk as you watch it.
Wow, he's got. Radu's got Scott jumping up on a wooden wall.
5. Last one. 6. Get down.
Yeah, I love Radu.
3 times he did, and he's out of breath.
Hey, Howard.
Yeah.
Just be careful. I think there's an F word in there somewhere.
All right.
With the breathing.
Boy, oh boy.
Okay, now let me go. So this
bet is killing him.
So
here's tape.
So let me tell you about it. So this guy, Scott the Engineer, for the people at home, are like, what are we watching? Well, this guy, Scott the Engineer, had a push-up challenge. He's always been not broke. He's just Howard Stern doesn't pay any of his staff. And so for $25,000, he had to do 20 push-ups, and they gave him a chance to train for it. And this guy is like the brokest guy on the show, has a family, has kids, needs money. So this guy would do anything for the money. And Howard Stern just loves torturing this guy. And this is the same guy he can't even use for his.
He wouldn't even give him. Howard's a billionaire and wouldn't give him a penny towards his wife.
Rage. Here's tape of Scott the Engineer yelling at Ganji.
I told you not to use the goddamn tape. Scott, did I say don't use the tape? I told you. Get out of my way. I told you. Get out of my way. I would have never let you come if I knew you were going to use the tape. No fucking way, Ganji. Now stay out of my face.
Wow.
Scott, I told you.
Okay.
Out of my face.
Okay, so now we got to see what happens. Now you guys can see the contest. Hold on, let's go. This is it.
Ted, you're a loser.
I don't think it's. No, I don't think it's.
Get out of the room. All right, why don't you bring in?
Well, let me find it. It should be right. Okay, here we go.
Do it, and I did it, and I worked my ass off to get to this.
You worked your ass off, but you didn't do it.
Continue.
I will continue because I feel good.
Because maybe one of these days you'll be able to do 17 push.
Wait, hold on. Oh, we missed it. Hold on.
You saw a push-up there?
Wait a minute.
Is a push-up?
That's not the question, Howard. This is what Dean's going by. Dean didn't ask if you saw a push-up. Dean asked.
Dean had to look at a couple of things.
But he
had to make sure it was a push-up.
He said by your criteria of
with your belly. I have to talk about the rules. I'm sorry, but I have to do that first.
And if he's wearing the wrong thing, we're going to have to.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I think it should be rules only, Howard.
Rules only.
I'll go in. Loser.
Oh, he's going to lose.
Do you believe this? Total loser. All right. Scott is wearing.
Just give me the rules, okay?
Yeah. Scott is wearing.
Just give me the rules. That's what you wanted to give me. Give me the rules.
Give me the rules.
Scott is wearing a T-shirt that I find acceptable. Do you, Robin? Since you're putting up the bulk of the money.
The jacket off.
Yes, that's fine.
That's fine. I find that acceptable.
That's fine.
I didn't want some. Dean.
He's scary.
Let me explain to Scott, because this really is a lot of money riding on this, and Scott has worked hard, and everyone has been involved. Debbie Gibson has even come in and sung the national anthem. That's how important this event is.
Thank you.
All right.
Loser.
No,
Dean.
you're the loser, Ralph.
Loser. Loser.
Calm down.
Scott is freaking out.
Listen to the rules only.
Okay, this guy wants this money so bad for the people at home. This Scott guy wants this money so bad. So he has to do 25 push-ups or 20?
25 push-ups.
Okay,
Don't play the game. Don't play the game.
Oh, listen to Radu.
$31,000.
All right. Let me go through the rules. Radu, I want you to listen carefully. I want everyone to listen because, it's Dean. I am entrusting Dean. Scott has agreed to entrust Dean. We're entrusting you with the decision. can hear it in the background.
This is it. No more. This is it. This is it. This is it.
Thank you.
This is it. This is it.
Move the money away so Scott will have his hands. Get it out of the way.
Yeah.
Stop throwing things, please. Don't throw anything.
The other thing is Radu started banging Scott in the chest just before he started talking to him.
He did. He's banging him in the chest because he knows he's going to have to give him cardiac resuscitation. Here we go.
All right.
Hold on. Here we go.
Go. 1, 2, more. Scott, need more.
I can't hear.
Hold the top of the elevator when you need it.
Go.
Come on, Scott.
Oh, he's struggling.
Go. More. Scott, need more.
Do you think he did it? I mean, they said. I mean, I think he did do it. What do you think?
I would have gave it to him either way.
Of course, they should. That's what I'm saying. Chauncey Howard is so sick. This is the best episode ever. As a kid, I mean, as a young man, I'm watching this. We all loved it, and then look, but watch what happens.
Did he touch the ground?
His chest.
Hold it. Did his chest touch the ground ever?
His knee started to buckle at the end, and he missed one that I counted with the whistle.
And he was supposed to stop.
Let me tell you something. Hold it. I can't talk. I need to talk. I want
Robin's so cheap, she came out to... Robin never comes out of the booth, but she doesn't want to pay the extra money she put up, so she's going to try to end it. Yeah.
They asked Dean a question. I don't mind paying the money if this was done fair and square, but I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you one thing.
Let me.
Howard probably still feels like he did Scott a favor for doing this 100 years ago.
Let me explain.
Hold it. I got to be able to talk. Number one, his stomach touched the ground 17 times.
Yes.
Hold it. Let me ask you something, Dean. I want to know. Were those the push-ups? Were you at any point trying to tell him that they were no good?
At one point, yes. When I blew the whistle, his stomach started hitting.
Did Scott do 17 push-ups?
No.
He did not.
Wait a minute. No. Wait a minute. At the point that I blew.
Hold it.
What? Dean wasn't even watching his back. His legs were curled.
That's when I blew the whistle. At that point.
I don't even. Hold on.
We've got video. If you show Scott the video.
Okay. I just want to hear him yell. Well, basically, guys, I want to show there's a part where he yells at him. He yells at Howard to pay up, but I guess I don't want to go through it because I want to ask you a couple more questions. We're almost at 2 hours, Chauncey. We've been going so fast. The interviews.
I hope I gave you what you wanted.
Oh yeah, you crushed it. No. I'm just saying. It's funny. We can watch that. I want to ask you a couple more questions though about. So one guy we didn't go at all. What's the deal with Ralph Cifarella? I mean, there has to be something weird. Is Howard and him? I mean, I don't know, but he must have dirt.
He's just a leechy guy, creepy guy. That Howard felt. Well, Howard needed somebody to dress him and to change his look, and Ralph conned his way in and got Howard to trust him, and he's been there ever since. But Ralph is just a creepy guy. That's the only way you can really describe him.
Do you think he knows that? Is it because Ralph knows that Howard has a wig, so that's why he keeps him under the...
Howard knows that Ralph knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah, so he has to keep him on the payroll.
He's got to stay.
Yeah, and Howard, and Ralph talks about his credit card bills. I'm sure, it only takes one check from Howard a year to pay, Ralph's credit card bills or whatever. I don't know.
Whatever it is, he needs to be around.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, we'll never really know.
I don't believe Howard and Beth even have that, good of a relationship. He tries to act like it's good. What do you think about their relationship?
I don't think anymore. No, I would seriously doubt at this point. It's like most relationships, but especially with Howard, I'm sure I wouldn't even be surprised if they sleep in different rooms at this point.
Oh, I'm sure he's like at his bottom of the house. And isn't it true? And she rescues all those cats, which I actually love. I'm a cat nut. But is it true that he got some girl? He has a baby by some waitress or something. What was the story?
Hold on. That's been a rumor, but no one's ever proved it.
Okay, that he got a waitress pregnant, supposedly.
Yeah, he's from Scores.
Oh, some Scores, a dancer. Yeah. Wow, that was the most famous club. That place was so crooked. Oh, what was it?
And he bought her a Mercedes-Benz.
To shut her up? Wow.
Yeah,
he did the same thing for Robin. He bought Robin the same Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
But the reason we showed that Scott the Engineer clip, guys, is we just want to say this guy, Scott the Engineer, has been with Howard from basically the start, or at least the start of Howard's like real major success. And when his wife got sick, Howard couldn't even fork him over a little do-re-mi to make his life a little easier.
Nothing. He fired him. He fired him for it.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, and you don't think Howard could be, I know this is crazy, but I'm telling you, these like elitists like that, like Ellen DeGeneres, he actually likes people to die. I know that sounds crazy. That's like weird, but I honestly believe that.
Well, he's vindictive. He's very vindictive.
Well, you know how he's like, this is why I say that. When I talk about how he talks about whack packers that have passed away, he almost talks about them like fondly. You know what I mean? He doesn't talk about them like, Eric. He talks about Eric very fondly, yet if you talk to Eric's handler, his name's Jan, who I'm friends with on Facebook, man, Jan says the Howard Stern show did him so dirty after he passed away. They didn't do anything for him.
They didn't do anything. They don't do anything for anybody. They don't.
I mean, so do you know what I mean?
Look what they did to the E show, the man guys. Doug
Goodstein was there for years. What did they do though? How did they fire him though?
Ganji. He just fired them on the air. He put it on the air. He told them they were all fired, and that was the end of it. But and after all those years, they lost it all.
Wow. Well, I'm telling you, you've crushed it, Chauncey. I mean, is there anything? And everybody here in the chat, I want everybody to know. Go and follow Chauncey on Twitter because there's so many questions. And Chauncey, I gotta have you on again. I can look. I'll read some more of your interview so I can have even more questions. But
I'll come on again without this one here, so we can get into more details.
We can be a little more intense.
Yeah.
But
this is the G-rated version.
Exactly. And what I'm saying is. People want to always parent their other people's kids, too. I think that's annoying. My dad was pretty loosey-goosey with me, and I didn't turn out so great. But what I'm just saying is let these people parent their own kids. I don't want anybody to tell me how to parent my cat. I would never allow that, Chauncey. Okay, hit us with one last thing. What do you got for us? Like, what are the people? There's 225 watching total with all the streams. What do you want to tell the people at home, Chauncey, about your legacy and about exposing Howard Stern as an investigative journalist? Like, what's your proudest moment you think as an investigative journalist?
I'm proud of the entire 20 years that I was on the Howard Stern show. I really am. If you ask me if I have any regrets. Only one, and that was bringing Debbie's remains on the show. I wish I didn't do that. I didn't know how that was going to turn out. And so I do feel remorse over that. But other than that, I regret nothing. And we had some pretty wild moments. And it made my life very interesting. It made my life exciting. And I can look back on it all and laugh. I can laugh at all of it. I really can. I have no animosity towards anyone. I have no hatred in my heart. I don't carry any angst inside me. I'm here with my daughter in Ireland, and I'm the happiest dad in the whole world. I'm just a happy guy. And,
tell us what Ireland's like. Do you guys like Ireland? Is it
why
really
don't you
nice?
talk to them in Gaelic?
Need to touch a piece of you.
Wow.
That's my daughter a question. She'll answer you in Gaelic.
Well, let me tell you my Gaelic experience. I dated a girl named Erin, and her name was in Gaelic, so it was Eireann instead of Erin. It was Erin. It was so hard to spell her name, Poppy. I was always worried about spelling her name wrong in front of her. You know what I mean? If I ever to write her name down for something, I'm like, oh, God, I better not spell it wrong. So that's cool, though, that you're learning Gaelic. I like that.
She goes to an all-Gaelic school, so they don't speak any English in her school, only Gaelic.
What? No English? I thought English was the main language there. Am I wrong?
No, they're trying to bring back the Irish language, and so there are many schools here where they own the teachers, everybody, the students, from day one can only speak Gaelic, never an English word.
Wow. How do you?
My daughter's fluent.
Yeah, but what do you do at the parent-teachers conferences? You don't speak Gaelic. It's
a problem. It's a problem for me.
Yeah.
It is. I'm from New Jersey. It's a big problem.
Well, that's awesome that you're getting that culture. There's one thing I have to be worried about, though, honestly, though, too. In Ireland, I remember I spent a little time in Europe. You can get a pint if you're, like, above the bar. You know what I mean? So I think
18 to drink here.
Whoa, so they're strict about that. See, I thought they weren't strict about that.
Well,
I guess now.
No, they're not strict. That's legal. You do see kids in here pretty young. I mean, you can be 15 and look 18.
That's what I'm
18,
saying. And they don't check an ID at a bar in Europe. They don't care about that, do they?
It's not as strict as it's not like it is in America. No. It's a problem. It's a problem. Yeah.
It is. You know, you got these kids that don't know what they're doing. But hey, listen, and I love New York City. You know, it's a city that never sleeps. It's a crazy city, the most famous city ever. But isn't it the worst city to live in? Aren't you so happy to not live there?
I'm so happy not to be in America right now. When I see all the riots and everything that's going on, it just seems so sad at the moment. I'd like to come home, and I hope when I come home, because Poppy's never been to America, so I would love to show her New York and my old stomping ground.
Oh, she has to. Well, you have to go see it, even if you don't move, obviously.
Yeah, she's got to go home and see where her dad comes from, and so I'm hoping when things settle down and we're in a better place, I can take her over.
You need to stay there, and I know you can't talk about your finances too much, but is Ireland hooking y'all up during the coronavirus or no? I mean, are they helping the citizens?
Well, not me. I'm not Irish, so I don't get anything. You
don't qualify for anything there. I don't know. A lot of those Northern European.
I qualify for the American things. I get my American stimulus check, and I get all that.
Wow,
so
that's good.
I'm still an American, even though I live here in Ireland. So I still get the benefits that anyone else would get.
Well, I mean, what's $2,000? That's one daycare. I mean, that's nothing to you.
Well, I think that's 87 pints. I have to check.
Is that what it is? Sorry. Okay, tell me this. Is that another stereotypical? People say, "Oh, Alex, you need to go to Ireland." Is there really a pub everywhere in Ireland? Is that really what it's like?
There was before the COVID virus. Now there's no pubs.
Well, now they're not open. But I'm saying in general, normally, is there really like a pub on every corner?
You won't have trouble finding a pub here.
Is it like a bodega in New York City or something? They're just one everywhere.
Well, depends what you want. Depends what town you're in. Every town is different, but there are quite a few pubs. Some towns more than others. I live in Monaghan, and there's a good number of pubs here.
That's awesome. Well, if I ever get to Ireland, I don't think I will, unfortunately. I'm not anytime soon. I'm not with that. I don't want to go anywhere traveling. Lord knows they'll make you get a vaccine passport. Lord knows there's too many hoops I'm not going to be going through just to go see my man Chaunce. But you come back in the States, I'm going to interview you again, Chaunce. I'll send you a Twitter message. We can get really X-rated. I'll bring you on.
You did a great job, and I got to tell you, I was impressed with everything really impressed by it. You're gonna be great. You're gonna be great.
Wow, seriously. You're being so nice, Chaunce. And you've dealt with Donald Trump. I mean, you're a guy that's talked on the phone. I mean, Donald Trump calls you Chaunce. I'm gonna start calling you Chaunce. I just can't believe that's the coolest thing. And like I said, I don't want to come here and kiss Donald Trump's butt, but Donald Trump was the coolest guy when he was calling you. He was the #1 TV show. Howard Stern was all. This is what makes me so mad about Trump. Howard Stern, Jimmy Kimmel, before Trump was a political figure, they all kissed his butt.
Loved him. He was ratings gold.
Howard would call him Mr. Trump sometimes. Yeah. Even if he was saying it facetiously, he'd be like, "How you doing, Mr. Trump?" Then he called him Don.
Go to all Howard's birthday parties. It was always.
And then they flipped on him like a pancake to the other side, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, that's what they do. You don't know where you're going to be tomorrow with any of those people. They can turn on a dime, and that's how it is. So I'm happy to kind of be away from that world at the moment and be here in Ireland with my daughter. I'm glad to get away from that because I did it for 30 years, and I'm just happy.
Raise your daughter in Ireland. Don't get any Black Lives Matter rallies. You're probably safe from them out there, so you won't. You should be safe. I'm in Dallas. It's funny, when I started my show, a friend of mine had a studio in downtown Dallas. That's where he's like, "Hey, Alex, you should do a radio show," and he had it all set up before I got my own setup. and I'm going to do the third show I've ever done in this whole studio. The windows were busted out from a thing in downtown Dallas. I couldn't even do it. So it would actually end up being a good thing because then I ended up buying the gear to set up the studio myself. I bought the webcam and the microphone. So it actually, I'm very grateful to, I mean, I would have done it eventually. I would have bought it, but I'm saying I'm grateful for Black Lives Matter actually helped push me into becoming more professional faster. So thank you to George Floyd, actually. I know that's weird to say. But Chauncey, you're the man. I'm going to have you back on very shortly. And I want to say, Poppy, thank you for being here. And I'm sorry we didn't ask you enough questions. You know, your dad's a very famous person. You know, so I'm very interested. I have to give him all my attention, but I promise you're very cool too, Poppy. You are very cool.
Well,
I don't want to make you...
I don't have to tell her I'm famous. Somebody else can tell her.
He is, and I'm telling you, there was a time when your dad knew the most important people in the media, literally. I mean, the top people. That is not a lie. Numero uno, especially Howard Stern. He was the king at the time.
She said, was I like Justin Bieber? No.
No, a little different. He would have talked to Justin Bieber. He would definitely would have. He would have talked to Justin Bieber. That's for sure. We would have had
lunch.
Yo, definitely. Okay. Who's the worst celebrity though? Last thing to say, like, what's the worst celebrity?
The worst one. I do have an answer for that. The worst one. Oh my God. The one in Juno, what's her face?
The Ellen Page, the one she's a boy now.
The worst.
What did she Ellen Page now? What did Elliot and Rachel Levine's my favorite. This is the great for the Conspiracy Castle. This is a great way to end it. Tell me your beef with Elliot Page. What happened?
So I met her for lunch and in New York City, and I just watched the movie Juno. And I said to her, and I'm looking at her, and she looks like she's 12. She looks so...
But she was like
young.
18 or 19, right?
She looked like a little boy. She looked like a little boy to me. And I said to her, trying to compliment her, I said, one of the great things about being you is that your range is so wide. You could play anybody, anything. You could play a young boy or an older woman. You have that kind of charisma and image. And she looked at me, and her eyes, you could see the fire in her eyes. And she goes, what are you trying to say? Why don't you just say what you're trying to say?
Wait, shut up, Chauncey!
I'm just trying to say that you have great range. She goes, are you saying I'm pubescent? Are you calling me pubescent?
Well, she was.
I said, I'm not calling you pubescent. I'm saying that you have a lot of versatility because of who you are at the age you are now. You're at the age in your early 20s where you look very young, and yet you could also play late 20s or older. I said, that's a wide range. She goes, what you're trying to say is I'm pubescent. And you know something? I can't get past that. And the publicist had to step in and stop the interview and tell me to leave.
Wow, you're sitting down with it, but it's funny because you said, "Oh, you can play a boy." I know you're being ultimate. You're trying to, feed her ego as an actor. Yeah, of course.
But I didn't know she had these other issues. I didn't know that she was transgender. I didn't know that she was transgender. But that's what she thought I was probably getting at. But I wasn't. And the other time I could put my foot in my mouth was a Joan Jett. Because I was getting ready to interview her. I was working on my questions. And a guy I know said, she came out in Rolling Stone magazine and said she was gay. I said, she did? He goes, oh, yeah, no, you can ask her about it. She came out. So I'm talking to Joan Jett, and I go, so what was it like coming out saying you're gay? She goes, I've never told anybody that.
What? And so you outed Joan Jett?
She goes, I've never told anybody that. Like, oh, God. I've had a lot of moments like that.
Wow, you're a beast, Chauncey.
I'm gonna write a book. I'm really going to write a book.
Wow, yeah, Chauncey, you definitely have to write a book. I mean...
Poppy wants to say something to you.
Poppy?
What do you want to say?
I want to say something in Gaelic.
She wants to say something in Gaelic.
Okay, please, go ahead.
Say it loud into the mic.
What does that mean, Poppy?
Are you okay?
I'm trying. I'm not in Ireland. I'm in Dallas. It's not barely. I'm okay, but I'm barely okay. We'll be fine. Probably not doing as good as you guys.
I'm going to bed because the Easter Bunny's coming tonight, so she's got to go to bed for the Easter Bunny in the morning.
Wow. Okay. Well, you are going to have a great Easter Sunday. You guys make sure to go eat and go find some eggs, and you guys have a good one. Okay, Chauncey. And I'm gonna message you again, Chauncey. I'm gonna have you back on. We can get really wild sometime.
It was a pleasure. It really was.
And thank you for making yourself available. People don't realize it's 10. It's a midnight, or what time is it right now in Ireland?
It's almost 11 o'clock.
Wow, 11 p.m. with you're a man, Chauncey, for coming on and doing this. Thank you, Chauncey. You guys have a good one. I'll talk to you soon, my friend.
Peace.
See you, Poppy. Bye, Poppy. Bye. Happy Easter. What a great guy, Chauncey Hayden from the Howard Stern Show. You guys are like, what are you talking about, Chauncey? You know, guys, this is a passion project. This is the Conspiracy Castle. Primetime 99, Alex Stein. Give me a break. What do y'all want from me? I mean, we're going to have some guests that I like, that I listened to when I was a young kid. I listened to freaking Howard Stern every night. I tell you that. I'm not going to lie. He's my favorite broadcaster. Not anymore. He stinks now. But he was great. And I'm telling you, you can go back and listen to all the stuff with Chauncey and Howard. Like, I mean, Chauncey was on the show. Howard knows exactly who he is. Chauncey's got personal phone calls with Donald Trump, calling him Chaunce. I mean, you know, you can hate all you want, but I mean, don't hate the play, hate the game, dog. So we're going to have interesting guests. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff. We're going to talk about conspiratorial stuff. We're going to talk about conspiracy within pop culture. I mean, this is the Conspiracy Castle with Alex Stein. We're going to talk about what's the mind of Stan is what we're going to call it. Like the mind of Mencia. Y'all know the mind of Mencia, Carlos Mencia. Well, this is the mind of Stein. And y'all know that I'm mentally insane. So it's going to be a totally insane show. But I know you guys wouldn't have it any other way because you guys like a little bit. Come on. We know we like a little bit of an insane show. We all like it a little bit freaky deaky. We don't want some boring show where we just do the same old. No, we got to freaking turn these things to 11, okay? You know what I mean? And Sky Bear is going nuts today. I know I'm about to go in the room, and this is what happens when I put him in the room like that. And when I put him in the room like that, thank you for the lemon, and I don't put a litter box in there, he's probably going to pee on one of my freaking, probably gonna pee on the clothes. But what are you gonna do? There's nothing we can do. Except for what can we do? We can chill. Thank you guys. I love each and every one of y'all. Y'all are the best. Come on in, join the Patreon. $3. Join the Patreon. Help a brother out. Put your too long stay work.
Fatty ganja smoking. Fatty ganja smoking. Fatty ganja smoking. Fatty ganja. Babylon, you break the very last that you made. To plan out your garden is a mistake. I manage the roots and not the branches. See through your lies, little
Let's
son
go,
of a
baby.
Lord.
Come on.
Bless I with the abundance herb for meditation. Grow it and spread it to the whole nation. No father, you spread negative
I love y'all. I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all are the true MVPs.
My herbal garden is a sweet medicine for me. In my herbal garden is what inspired this melody. So burn,
put your too long stay work.
Oh, I stay burn.
Put your too long stay work. Peace.
Yeah, Fabi ganja smoking. Fabi ganja. Yeah, Fabi ganja smoking. Fabi ganja. Since Emilia is a gift from Jah, I will not follow your man-made law. Me nah cause no trouble with your herb in me pipe. Yes, me fire up and yes, me feel alright. Blaze up the green with me feeling the blues. To plant tribe see the swat tire night shoes. Never disrespect, I will never abuse. It is laws of the book, I follow the rules. In my herbal garden is a sweet medicine for me. In my herbal garden is what inspired this melody. So bird, put your two lungs to work. Oh, I say bird, put your two lungs to work. Yeah, for the ganja smoking, for the ganja. Yeah, for the ganja smoking, for the ganja.